Hello, everybody. Today we'll pass about the one of the foreign methods of foreign language teaching reading. So teaching reading, teaching reading and the writing, listening, one of the most writing, reading, speaking also are one of the foundational skills of language learning. Reading is a learning skill. It helps what? To develop language intuition in the corrected form. Reading is the process of constructing meaning from written text. It is a complex skill requiring the coordination and interrelated source of information. Reading, the first skill of teaching methods, it's one of the reading. We should know the reading, then the writing, then the speaking, and then the listening. Okay, the reasons of reading, students career, so language acquisition, students vocabulary knowledge, modeling English writing, introduce topics, stimulate discussions. Just when you can read, first of all, you can speak in English. Yeah? So you can introduce the topics. For example, what are you reading? And just then you can stimulate to discuss, you can discuss. For example, if you read one text, you can discuss it. What about this text? Yeah? So next aspects in teaching reading process. So there are two aspects of teaching reading process. The first of all, bottom up, the next top down. For example, what is a bottom up? A bottom up is based to the what? Letters, form, morphemes, syllables, words, phrases. The first of all, to reading just one text, the first you pay attention for it, the correcting the reading. That's why you should know, you should learn so the letters. For example, you should learn alphabets, for example, A, B, C, D, E, F, so also other English alphabets. Next, you should know the morphemes. For example, just how can correctly spelling the one word. For example, just you can letter L-E-T-E-R-S, just we can letters E-R, just we can correctly we can read it. For example, more syllables. For example, you know that when the one of the syllable, we can put the word, the syllables, and we can change the meaning of the word. So words, so also, and the phrases, the meaning of the phrases. The second, for example, just we brought the who socks some, who brought some red socks. Just correctly we can read as it. Correctly, just we may do so. The first of all, we pay attention the word border. Yeah. Next, top down. Top down, it is reader based. Reader just who. For example, we are students and pupils. They're just reader. Here, bottom up, we can pay attention for the what? For the text based. The second, reader based, just learners, for example, draw their own intelligence and experience to understand the text. For example, they correctly, or that they can shortly to write the words. For example, it may be the lecture. For example, when we write something quickly, we can do, or we can correct, we can short it as we know. For example, here, for example, just we can for example, we can shortly write these words. For example, we can shortly write these. For example, we can read the sentence with every third letter missing, just these correctly word, yeah, here. And we can do it correctly, just we can do it as shortly for ek. For example, just you can see here any more example. So next, I think it's understandable for you. Yeah, next, just seems thorough and background knowledge. Here, just we can know the reader brings information, knowledge, emotion, experience, and a culture, and the printed world. contents schemata and the formal schemata. For example, just we can print it with the reader brings the information and the emotion and how to see the experience. Also, the role of effects and the culture. The role here we can say language, ergo, self-esteem, empathy, motivation. Yeah, just we can give the motivation for the students. Okay, next, just different kinds of reading. Just we can use the different kinds of reading. Just for example, extensive. Here we can see the two main kinds of reading. The first, extensive reading. The second, intensive reading. Extensive reading, just what is it? What is it? That extensive reading is a student's reading is which students can read the whole text, just give the meaning or the whole text. So for example, one topics here we can include for this extensive reading one text. So one topics just we can and the student can here understand or they give the meaning of the whole text. So, intensive reading. Intensive reading, it is a shortly information. For example, student can read the main or the detail for the text. For example, the needing context from the text. For example, consists of detail focus on the construction of reading text. Here they can use or they can read the main thing of this or main detail of the reading texts. So next, adult literacy training, just the role of cognition in reading, the role of automaticity in the word recognition, the role of conscious strategies, effective techniques of activity, schemata, the relationships of reading and writing. Just at the beginning of the lecture, I have said the reading, writing, speaking, listening, it's all it is a main methods of foreign language teaching, yeah, the types. So next, reading comprehension. Reading comprehension, just reading skill help the students grasp the content through conclusions. Yeah? Just because the students should also make it a point of familiarize themselves with the jargons and new words by making reading habits in reading. Reading comprehension is a process of extracting and constructing meaning through interaction and involvement with written language. For example, comprehension entails three elements. The reader who is doing the comprehending. For example, the reader who is doing the comprehending, the reader who can understand the meaning of the word or just of the text or the reading text. Yeah? So next, the second, the text. The text is, you know, it's also also be the understandable for the students or for the reader. So next, next activity, the activity in which comprehension in part. So for example, activity which comprehension is a part, the social cultural context meditates students experience, just a student experience influence the context. Next, here, more micro skills for reading comprehension, micro skills. Just we can learn the skills for reading comprehension. Just for example, the first, discriminate among the distinctive graphemes and orthographic pattern of English. Just the first of all, we know how to discriminate the graphemes and the orthographic patterns of English. Just we know how to read the one word, how we can read one sentence, for example. Yeah. Next, retain chunks of language of different lengths in short-term memory. Retain chunks, just we can memorize the one here, just one text or one sentence, or just we want to remain in your mind. Next, process writing at an efficient rate of speed to suit the purpose. Just why next, Okay, next, recognize the score of words and interpret word order patterns in their significance. We can interpret, just we can understand, we can give the explanation of this just word or just sentence or just text. Next, recognize grammatical word classes, systems, patterns, rules, elliptical forms. Just recognize grammatical word classes. How can the first we may pay attention for the grammar, just system, and the rule of sentence, or the rule what word of sentence. Yeah. Next, recognize a particular meaning may express different grammatical forms. Also, we can pay attention for the meaning of the sentence, or just for the grammatical grammar structure of the sentence. Yeah. Next, recognize coercive device in written discourse and the role in signaling relationships among the quotes. Next, recognize the theoretical forms of written discourse and their significance of interpretation. Next, recognize the communicative functions of written text according to forms and purpose. Just purpose. Sorry. Just here also we pay attention for the what for the written texts. Just and according to the form of just purpose. Next, infer context that is not explicit by using background knowledge. Infer links and connections between ideas, deduce, course, and the effect, detect such relations as main idea, supporting idea, new information, given information, generalization, and the exemplification. Distinguish between literal and implied meanings. Distinguish between literal and implied meanings. Here, just we can the meaning of the literally, just the meaning of the sentence, or the meaning of the topics, or the meaning of text. Just the first of all, what the author just want to show us, for example, literal meanings and implied meanings. Next, detect culturally specific references and interpret them in a context of appreciate cultural schemata. Develop and use a better reading strategies. Okay, next. Also, strategies of reading comprehension. Identify the purpose of reading. Identify the purpose of reading. The aim of reading. Just the graphic rules and patterns aid or bottom up. Accordingly, have said about it. Use efficient silent reading techniques for relatively rapid comprehension. So skim the text for main ideas. Also, here skim the text of specific information. Use semantic mapping and clustering. Guess when you are uncertain, analyze the vocabulary. Distinguish between literally implied meanings. Capitalize on discourse makers to process relationships, for example, enumerative, additive, reinforce, similarity, transition, logical sequence, semantic, and the result explicative, illustrative, constructive. Yeah. So next, also teaching of comprehension strategies. It is an active process of constructing meaning, interactive, strategic, adaptable. So interactive involves the reader, the text, and the context in which reading takes place. So strategic readers have purpose for their reading, the variety of strategies as a construct meaning. For example, just readers choose readers choose their reading, and for the different kind of the meaning, the kind of the strategies of, for example, they construct meaning. Adaptable readers change the strategies they use depending on the text and the purpose. It's also depends on the context. Yeah? Next, reading comprehension strategies, making connections, text of self, text to text, and text to world, text to self, text to text, and text to world. Just also here we can connected with the text. Creating mental images, visualizing the written information, questioning, asking themselves questions throughout the reading. For example, themselves, maybe it will be the teacher and among the teacher and the student. Also giving the question and answering from the students, for example, what they understand from the reading the text. Next, inferring, reading between the lines. Evaluating, determining importance. For example, here just synthesizing, ordering, retelling, recreating into the current as well as the whole the information. Okay. Next, types of classroom reading performance: the oral and the silent. Okay, it's also oral, just you can read orally in here, just text. Silent, and also we have said about the two sides of the silent, the intensive and the extensive. Intensive, so linguistic content, skimming, scanning, and global. Just we can pay attention. Intensive, extensive, global, skimming, scanning, we can pay attention here. Also principles of describing interactive reading techniques. Do not overlook instruction in reading skill. Use motivating techniques. Balance authenticity and readability in texts. Encourage the development of reading strategies. Include bottom-up and top-down techniques. Okay, follow. So we can here subdivided the techniques, follow the skewers rear, use the techniques here, just we can pay attention for the survey questions, interactively before you read, while you read, after you read, just for example, before you read the first, how to say, before reading one text, we should know the word, letter, just and also we can understand when we have know the more words, we can translate the word. For example, the first of all, we pay attention the whole all of the text, meaning of the text. What about this text? Then while you read, after the reading, we can put the questions themselves. For example, what about this text? What the author want to show us? The next builds your techniques: doing, choosing, transferring, answering, considering, extending, for example, duplicating, modeling, and conversing. Next, conclusion. As a conclusion, just I think that you know, you learn, so reading is considered to be one of the processes that promotes language acquisition. In the process of reading, schematic background affects and the culture, the type of reading, and the age of learners play the important role. Here we can also, for example, plays an important role. Next, learning goes beyond the process of decoding texts. Students need to know how to read to get the information required. How to read. There are several strategies just here, to develop the reading skills. Next, also just we can, I have shoot this such kind of bibliography. So at the, let's do the conclusion. At the conclusion, just I can say, so the first of all, we can know what the word, before the word, you should learn the letter. So it means the alphabet, how to read the one word. Among it, we can include the morphemes, how to can read the morphemes, for example, read, read, just. The second, we may pay attention for the what, for the grammar, how to, it means we can pay attention the word. Also, I have said I can say that I can give you some information about the reading, about the reading, teaching reading, the methods of foreign language teaching. Also, thank you for me. Just we can see my video lecture on the methods of foreign language teaching and teaching reading, and I just next time maybe I also give you some information about the teaching skilling, not teaching writing, just ways, and also teaching speaking, Thank you for you, and I am so glad. Just I was it do? I am just Sultanat here, Central Asian Information University. I am a teacher in this university, Department of Language and Literature. Goodbye. Thank you for you.